in this matchup. I see this game playing out similar to that Patriots game. I don't expect the Jets to run it all over the field, all over that Bills defense. I think this has like a 27-13 type of a vibe, maybe even like a 21-10 type of a vibe in favor of the Bills. The total is at 43.5. I like the under, where both the defenses, more importantly New York's defense, but Buffalo, I think, should be able to hold their own defensively against this New York Jets team. So that's my best play, Jets-Bills, in a big matchup. If the Jets can sort of shock us a little bit, that would be a huge win for New York. All right, moving on, 1 p.m., Browns at the Cincinnati Bengals. I mentioned the Bengals, a team that I like very much. I know, Tyre, you agree with me, trending in the right direction right now. I don't know how we can trust this Browns offense. Deshaun Watson is back and on the football field playing for the Cleveland Browns. Didn't seem ready in his first start, which is not a surprise.
No.
They're also just not a very good football team. Right? So I think the Cleveland Browns recipe here is have Deshaun Watson hand it off, simplify the game plan, and you're also going to try and keep it out of Joe Cool's hands. Keep it out of Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals offense, try and keep them off the field. Second straight game here where I actually like the under. The spread, by the way, Cincinnati at home, a 5.5-point favorite. The total at 46.5. Those numbers could vary depending on where you're looking and when you're looking at it. These teams are familiar with each other. You look at division totals in week 14 or later, they hit 58% of the time to the under. I think this game is a little bit more lower scoring and an ugly type of a matchup at 1 p.m. Another ugly matchup in Texas, in Jerry World, the Dallas Cowboys. Let's go Houston, baby, for Eagles fans.
Some glory hole.
That's right. The Texans are only a 17.5-point dog in Dallas against the Cowboys.
I'm holding out hope.
So you're saying there's a chance?
It's a chance.
All right. There we go.
It's not a huge chance now, but it's a chance.
I do not like this game. I am not betting this game. But if I have to throw out a play, I'll take the 17.5, 10 out of 10 times.
Oh, yeah.
You don't even have to give me the teams. If you're giving me 17.5 in the NFL, I'll take it and live with it and feel good about the result. I know the Houston Texans stink on ice. And, yes, the Cowboys are in my top 5. I can certainly see the Houston Texans covering and certainly figuring out a way to cover late in the game, a backdoor type of cover. But let's go Houston. Maybe they can pull off a miracle and help the Eagles out a little bit in this division by issuing an L to the Cowboys.
Boom!
I doubt it, though. I doubt it. How about this one? You brought it up to me earlier, Tyre. Minnesota and the Detroit Lions. The Vikings at 10-2 are an underdog to Jared Goff and the Lions.
The Lions have picked it up the path, like within the last, I say, 2 or 3 weeks. Like they are starting to become that team that we saw in the beginning when they faced us. They are now starting to win those games. So they're not a pushover anymore. The Lions will play the Vikings tough.
I agree. I completely agree. You look at this total, it's at 51.5. I'm staying away from the totals after giving out a couple of underplays. I know that's a boring play for the bettors out there. I actually would lean with Minnesota just because they're 10-2. They're overlooked a little bit. Not that I'm a huge fan of Kirk Cousins and the Minnesota Vikings. You like that. I'll take the points, though, with a 10-2 team going up against a pesky, well-coached team that plays hard in the Detroit Lions. But I'll take Minnesota getting 2.5. It got down to 1.5. So I'll rock with the Minnesota Vikings. But I hope Detroit's able to win that game outright, of course, and help out the Philadelphia Eagles to secure that number 1 seed. All right, another 1 p.m. Eastern Time kickoff. Dougie P going up against the Tennessee Titans. Jacksonville in Tennessee against the Titans.
Ooh, boy.
The Jags are an underdog, of course, getting 3.5. The total at 40.5. Both of these teams coming off of an embarrassing loss. We know very well Eagles doing the beating to the Tennessee Titans last week. So can the Titans bounce back, or can maybe Jacksonville bounce back and the Titans stay down on the mat for a second straight week. I don't think the Titans, after watching that game last week, I know the Eagles played really well. You have to give a ton of credit to Philly, obviously. The Titans also just don't have a ton of weapons. They're not able to score a ton of points. They live and die with Derrick Henry, which isn't the worst situation to be in. I don't think they have enough. I actually like Jacksonville to possibly win this game outright.
I'm on the opposite end of this, actually.
Okay.
After looking up some stats, Jacksonville, the Jaguars are 28th in the NFL in pass defense.
Not great.
So for me, starting Ryan Tannehill in my fantasy is starting to look good, not to mention the fact that I also have Derrick Henry. So, yeah, I'm hoping for an ass whooping.
I don't blame you. You have two key guys in that game, so you're hoping for the best there on the Tennessee Titans side of things. All right, that one should be interesting. Let's go to Baltimore and Pittsburgh, a game that I mentioned briefly at the end of the last segment there. The Ravens, a slight dog. 1.5 is the spread. Steelers the favorite. The total 36.5. It's a very low total. Two tough defenses, two offenses that are tasked with having to just not blow the game, right? Not be the quarterback or the offense that throws an untimely interception that could cost you a victory. The Steelers' offense has been balanced, right? That's a team right now under Mike Tomlin that's going to establish the run. They're going to simplify it for Pickett. Against the Ravens, they're going to try and find some room to attack them on the ground. But that's also the third best defense in yards per rush allowed in Baltimore. I think this is another tough, bruising type of a matchup. It seems to always be the case with the Ravens and the Steelers tie. I'm going to go with the Ravens getting the points where they need a win. I think they win this game outright.
I won't say they win it outright, but you can take the over-under in this game. I would honestly take the under at 37.5. But at a 1.5 line, it's easy. I could see the Ravens covering. I do. They're the team that's really fighting for a playoff spot in the AFC. And right now they're in a wild card spot because I don't think they're going to win their division with the Bengals starting to get hot. And the Pittsburgh Steelers are still a developing team. So, yeah, I can see the Ravens covering and winning.
Here's a funny joke. The Denver Broncos. My goodness. What happened?
I just want to call out everybody that's been, that was hammering for Russell Wilson in the offseason.
Good. Call him out. I mean, no one could have predicted this.
You suck.
Russell Wilson, where did you go, my friend? Where did you go?
See what happens when you date superstars like Sierra? I'm sorry.
There you go. Someone had to say it. A 9.5-point spread. Kansas City, obviously the favorite. I don't need to dissect this game. All right. Who the heck wants to bet Denver right now?
No.
Regardless of the spread, especially with this opponent. Give me Kansas City in a blowout. A blowout. Lay the 9.5, or, quite frankly, stay away from it. Right? Stay away from it. It's a big number. The Broncos are a mess. I don't have much of any type of expectation for Denver to do anything in the positive direction, so I would certainly put my money with the Kansas City Chiefs.
Kicking some ass.
Do you have any thoughts on that one, that dumpster fire of a team in Denver?
No, absolutely not.
Fine,
for all the people that want to Russell Wilson, we're never taking sports advice from you ever again.
Take a seat, sir.
Sit down and be humble.
Or ma'am. Sit down. All right, Carolina and Seattle. Big matchup. Seattle needs a win. My guy Geno Smith, can he continue to put up the numbers that he's piled up throughout this season? You look at the spread here. Seattle at home, a 4.5-point favorite. The total, 44.5. Listen, Geno Smith has been one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Point blank, period. Whether you believe that or not. Neither of these defenses are anything special. Lockett, I think he could have a really huge day in the pass game. Looking at the total here, 44.5. I'll rock with the over. I think this is a shootout type of a matchup with two bad defenses and certainly some weapons, at least on the Seattle side of the ball. So give me the over in that matchup where Seattle needs to get a win. They need to get a win, Ty. Go ahead.
There may be two bad defenses on this team, but also the Carolina offense is just horrible. They They are trash.
Tell me how you really feel.
I'm sorry. They are horrible. And I expect this to be a blowout in favor of the Seahawks.
All right. I wouldn't be surprised. Here's a game I can't wait to watch. Tampa and San Francisco. Tom Brady going back home. He grew up in the Bay Area. We mentioned earlier in the show, Purdy getting the start after the Garoppolo injury. What do we make of that, right? What is the San Francisco team going to look like now? Life without another starting quarterback in Jimmy Garoppolo. Tampa Bay, up and down season, struggling to put it nicely. 49ers are favored in this game, laying the 3.5. Garoppolo certainly can be described as a game manager, especially under Shanahan and out in San Francisco. Can Purdy be that good decision maker, be that game manager that leads San Francisco into the postseason and keeps that ship afloat? I think he can do it.
There's no way in hell Brady goes back home and he doesn't get out of there with a victory. And I think with that 3.5, I'm going Tampa Bay.
I'm going San Fran, right? Like I understand your point, but San Francisco still has excellent lines on both sides of the ball, offensive line and defensive line. Tampa Bay and their defense has not been anything special. I think San Francisco is going to be able to establish the run, and they're going to be able to rely on their own defense. And I think the 49ers find a way to get a win, unless Purdy is just terrible and he ends up with like 2 or 3 interceptions. Also, wouldn't be surprised if the GOAT does GOAT things. So
I was just about to say that. There's only one time that I bet against the GOAT, and that's the only time I was successful betting against the GOAT.
Which was?
The Super Bowl.
There you go. I did the same, my friend. All right, there you have it. That's all the NFL action for the 1 p.m. and 4 p.m. games kicking off later today.